Shorties. I'm here with Alyssa Coscarelli from Refinery 29.
Hey, how's it going?
Do you want to tell us a little bit about your job?
Yeah, sure. So I'm the Senior Fashion Market Editor at Refinery 29, and I know that's a bit of a word salad, but what that means is essentially I oversee the shopping-focused content on the website, so all those slideshows you see of products that are really bad for your wallet, that's me, sorry.
I feel like Refinery 29 is like Vogue's cooler, younger cousin as far as like being the fashion Bible of our generation. It's inspirational and practical and just super relatable. Speaking from your position at Refinery 29 and your experience, what do you think the future holds for petite fashion?
I think it's a really exciting time for petite fashion and the industry in general, just because of, first of all, how much customization is really on the rise. There's a brand called Fame & Partners that allows you to go into the item and put in your height, adjust the length of the skirt. If it's midi, you can make it mini. If it's mini, you can make it longer. You can adjust the neckline, the straps, that kind of thing. And I think they're really ahead of the curve in an area that I think is really going to expand over the next few years. So I think between the customization options that are starting to become available and also brands just taking notice of these more niche minority markets, whether that's plus size or petite, I think they're realizing there's a customer there and there's a market there and there's money to be made there. People want it. So I think we'll only start to see those brands and those kind of capabilities increase over the next few years. And there's even, a brand called Petite Studio here in New York that is dedicated to petite women. And it's niche. They're not producing clothing for everybody, but they're really narrowing in on this market where there's a hunger for cute clothes. Yeah. And so I think we'll only see that continue.
And I feel like what you said is so true, that there is money to be made, because I saw this statistic that actually the biggest purchasing power worldwide is petites.
Crazy.
Or are petites.
Yeah. So, I haven't seen that statistic, but I believe it. And even when I post about it on my own channels, there's always such a response and such like a craving for it.
Right. I actually meant to find that statistic and I can't find it. So
I'll take your word for it.
I love seeing you model for Refinery 29's like style stories.
Thank you. Amateur model, but I'll take what I can get.
It works. This goes to that whole relatable aspect of it.
Yeah.
How did that come about?
I think Refinery's always been really big on showcasing its own talent and really putting the amazing people that work for the company on a platform and putting them out in the world, which I find really amazing, because there's so many big corporations where you're really just a number, you're not a face, and so I think Refinery sees that people are talented in various facets. Yeah, you can write, but you can also be video talent, you can also be camera talent, on-camera talent. So I think that's something Refinery is really smart about. And also, again, like you said, it goes back to that relatability that we have and that we really want to maintain. Because when people see an outfit on a model, we're all too used to it being short and just being like, that's not how it's going to look on me. And so I think just showing things on real people, not to say models aren't real people, but just varying the body shapes and sizes and diversity that you see online just makes that experience as a reader so much more valuable and so much more relatable. So it's fun for me because I get to wear fun stuff and kind of like be out there, but I also think the readers appreciate seeing a range of people on the website and not just like 6-foot skinny models.
Right. What has the response been?
The response has been good. I think on the internet you're always going to get some haters, and obviously not everyone is petite, so someone might see me wearing something and not be able to relate to it, and that's fine. You can't win them all, you can't reach everybody, make everybody happy all of the time, but I think generally the feedback is pretty positive, and like I said, especially in my personal network online, there's definitely a craving and a hunger for petite fashion and styling tips, and I think people really find that layer of personality to be really accessible and just easy to follow and serviceable.
It wasn't too long into my styling career that I noticed that my self-esteem took a hit. How do you personally deal with continuously looking at images of clothing on over 5'7" bodies to only be confronted with a completely different fit when you're looking in the mirror?
It's still something I deal with all the time. I think I also have like a false body image where I like think I'm taller than I am, and then I like put something on and expect it to look just like it did online, and it's like, So maybe I have like opposite body dysmorphia, I don't know. But it definitely happens when I look in the mirror and I'm like, this is not what I thought this was supposed to fit like, this is not what I thought it was gonna look like. I think it's just knowing what silhouettes work for you, and what brands work for you, and kind of just sticking to those where you can, just to make life easier on yourself. But also, I mean, I think I've just had to get used to it, unfortunately, and just not compare myself to one thing or another. And also really, like, as far as online shopping goes, I really look at the measurements. And, you know, most sites show you the model is this height and wearing this size.
Oh, yeah.
So I kind of look at that and they say, you know, the model's 5'9" and she's wearing an extra small. And I say, okay, well, I think I would be an extra small, but if she's 5'9" and I'm 5'1", this skirt is gonna hit 8 inches below where it hits on her. And so whether that still allows me to buy it is up in the air. Maybe I'll still buy it and just know that I'm gonna have to get it tailored, or maybe I'll buy this cropped pant knowing that it's gonna be a full-length pant on me.
Yeah.
But I think it's just like taking advantage of the measurements that are out there and just like trying to picture in your mind how it's gonna fit. There are a select few brands, which I hope more brands do this. I think ASOS has started to show it on different sizes, and there's also a brand out of Toronto called People's Product that with their last collection, they showed a small on a small, a medium on a medium, a large on a large, an extra large on an extra large person. And so you really got to see like how your size would look on someone your size. I mean, so I hope that increases.
That's brilliant. It makes so much sense.
It makes so much sense, but it's that much more time and energy and money that has to go into shooting things that way. So I guess that's why it's not more widespread, but I hope it moves in that direction.
I really need to start looking at measurements because I mean,
you have to, or else it's just too much of a hassle of returning and being disappointed. And
I'm still disappointed.
I will say, like, get a measuring tape, measure yourself. I even had a friend today, like, send me measurements for something and be like, will this fit me? I'm just like, you have to take your measurements if you're gonna shop online. It will save you so much money and time and tears if you just know your number measurements.
And I feel like, for me, my weight fluctuates all the time. Like, my waist can
it's only natural, like,
down
we all fluctuate.
Like 25 to 27, I'm not kidding. That's like, at any point during the year, whether it's warm outside.
And there's so much vanity sizing, too. Like, you know, I can be a 00 somewhere and be a 6 somewhere else. You have to look at the measurements or else you're just gonna be confused.
There's some real power to that psychology, though.
I know, it's kind of crazy, right?
Like, I wish there was, like, a legal standard for sizing.
You would think, but it's all over the place.
Yeah. I realized that most of my style icons are not anywhere close to my body type.
Okay. Yeah.
What are some petite girls who I should put in my radar?
Oh, I mean, that's harder. I mean, they're out there. I think they're just not as common to find. But a lot of my friends, Lauren Caruso, for example, she's another petite gal.
I'm so jealous of all of her white leg pants.
I know, she has a great pant collection. She kills it. Also, Reese from Double Exposure, she's another shorty. Courtney from Always Judging. You know, there's a lot of petite girls really making a name for themselves in the style space. I think we all probably photograph a little bit taller than we are. We know our angles, and I meet people all the time that are like, oh, you're so short. I thought you were like way taller. And I'm like, you know, gotta shoot from below, make me look taller. You know, but short is beautiful too, and I think there's so many girls showing that. And even if we have to work a little harder to get things tailored and find things that fit, I think there's a space for us, and obviously there's people that can relate to it and are really happy when they find someone who is giving them style inspiration for someone their height.
Yeah. Courtney really took me by surprise, to be honest.
Yeah.
I could not believe she was 5'2".
I know. She's another one where it's kind of people think she's taller for whatever reason.
I think she has the world fooled. How has your stature influenced your work?
It's definitely influenced my work just as far as wanting to cater to that market because I know how hard it is as a customer. But I also have to realize that I'm not all customers. You know what I mean? I'm not all of our readers, and our readers really vary in size, shape, location, ethnicity. I mean, so I can't just cater to the petite market.
Yeah.
The refinery reader is so widespread that we really have to offer a little bit of everything. So I think it's great to have that knowledge in the petite space to include in our coverage, but it's also, we also have to have equal knowledge in the plus size space and in the straight size space. So we have to keep a mix. Even in the price point, it's always like high-low.
Right.
So that whoever comes to the store can get what they're looking for as much as possible, at least.
Yeah.
It's still hard to please everybody, but it's definitely good to have have experience with that petite struggle, because I know how it is shopping when you're shorter than average. But I also kind of have to step into other people's shoes as well.
Yeah. You're going to Tokyo, right?
Yes.
Soon? I heard that it's like the petite promised land.
Exactly. Exactly. Hopefully I'll find a lot of pants that I don't have to get.
Yeah.
It'll be great.
I heard that it's just like hole in the wall shops will have like perfectly fitting blouses.
Which is good for us, but not so good for people who are taller.
I know.
Who are like, the biggest size is like not gonna work, you know? So, but I guess I'll look out on that trip.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to your updates. What are some pros and cons to always having your finger on the pulse of fashion products?
Ooh, that's a great question. Pros, I mean, fashion and clothes and accessories are what I love. So I just love being knee deep in it and just like obsessing over it and like refreshing Zara's homepage. No, not really. But I really do just love keeping a pulse on it, and I just find it so interesting and juicy and exciting when people are doing something different, whether it's like creatively or technologically, or I just find brands so fascinating, and just seeing the ins and outs of them from my job is so eye-opening, and I feel like I'm taking a mental log of like all the good things and the bad things to eventually launch like the best brand in the universe. No,
please
not
tell
really,
me
but
in the works.
Not really, but I definitely have somewhat of like a Bible going in my brain of like fashion brands. And I'm kind of have this encyclopedia of knowledge when it comes to like women's wear and where to shop, which is cool. Cons, I think it's obviously an industry of excess, and working in it and just being obsessive over it and being so on the pulse of it makes me want more stuff all the time and make me feel like I have to like keep up with whatever is cool and whatever's new and whatever's hip. And I think there's an alter ego in me that like wishes I was just like had a capsule wardrobe of like 12 pieces that on rotation. But it's like that's never gonna be me.
Yeah.
And I think so just trying to keep the pulse on the market while not contributing to all of the shitty sorry, can I say shitty?
Yeah.
All of the shitty factors of the fashion industry as far as the environment and social issues, and it's really problematic, you know? The industry is so problematic in so many ways. So I think it's a fine art trying to balance being on the pulse of it and being an editor and kind of, you know, whatever, an influencer in the space while trying to like minimize my footprint. It's kind of an oxymoron, you know? It's hard. So I think these days I found myself trying my best to shop indie and shop sustainable and shop vintage a lot, and I feel like that's how I can feel good about what I do.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I'm on a budget. I live in New York. I have a craving for trends, and I'm not above shopping at Zara still, you know? And I think it's become less and less and less, and I really think about it more than I maybe used to as far as my purchases go and as far as what I choose to cover on the site. But it's always a juggling act, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, it's like part of your job, and like eventually I hope that our industry gets to the point where it's where it reflects our values and our concern for the environment.
Exactly. So I think the main con would be that I just have a lot of stuff and I'm constantly getting rid of stuff and trying to just like consume less, but at the end of the day, I'm in an industry of consumerism, so it's tough.
I mean, you've done a couple of those for benefit or for charity
Yeah,
events,
exactly.
right?
So that's been one way where my friend Lauren and I kind of took a step back and we were like, so we have all of this stuff that we don't want, but it's nice stuff. Maybe it's just not our style, or maybe we're just moving past that trend or whatever. What can we do that will have a positive effect with all of this stuff? And we said, you know, why don't we sell it and put all of the money towards a cause that we care about? So we've done a few sales for Planned Parenthood. We did one for one other charity that I'm blanking on at the moment, but So those have been really fun. The response is great because, you know, people want fresh new stuff, and that way we're not contributing to the like excess, but we're just like repurposing, and you know, one man's trash is another man's treasure. So we could be like totally over something, and then a girl comes to the sale and is like, oh my God, I love this so much. I'm so excited about it.
Yeah.
So, and we're also putting money into the causes we care about. So that's a good solution, I think.
That feeling of knowing that you're making somebody else happy with something that you don't want, it's
awesome.
amazing.
I think I'm so jaded when it comes to like clothes and accessories, and I'm like, ugh, I don't want this. And then someone else is like, what? You're just gonna give it to me? You know, because I give things to people at work all the time, and they're like so excited. I'm like, great, I can make someone's day. I can get that out of my universe.
I do these videos where I give away my oldies.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, I wish I could do them more, but it just takes, even if it's just 5 pieces, it's still like coordinating, like
it's time consuming.
Shipping it out and finding someone to ship it and making sure it's
I used to sell my stuff on Instagram, and it turned into a full-time job, so I was like, I can't do this anymore, unfortunately.
It's a lot, and even I went thrifting like a couple weeks ago, and I found so much great stuff, and I wish I could have bought it all so I could like gift it or like sell it for super cheap, but it's just a time commitment. That's like.
Luckily, Crossroads Trading has a service where they like come to pick it up, and they literally just like come to your house, pick up all your bags, and like put them up for sale and send you your cut in the mail. I'm like, oh, blessed.
I was gonna, because I've noticed
they like
that
do all the work. There's another app called Basic Space. I think it's invite only, but they do the same thing where they pick up your stuff and photograph it and sell it and ship it for you. It's like very hands off. So I think there'll start to be more services that kind of like do the work for you.
Because I feel like that's the number one thing, is just not to just donate, even if it's to Goodwill, your clothes, but to actually find people
a happy home.
Yeah, exactly.
And make a quick extra buck too. It's always good.
When you're looking at images of clothing on girls that are over 5'7", how do you decipher whether it's gonna flatter a petite frame or not?
I think, like I said, looking at the measurements is a big part of that. But also, like, I hate to say it, I'm kind of just like a yes person. Like, never ask me if you should buy something, because I'm just like, yeah, why not? And I'm big on getting things tailored. So I feel like if you love it and you're gonna wear it, like, go for it and just fix it and make it work for you. I know that's not a reality for everyone, but there's also a service. I should pretty much be, I'm like their unpaid spokesperson, literally. It's called try.com.
This
is not an ad. I just really, really like it. It's a service called try.com.
Try.com.
Yeah,
okay.
try.com.
Okay.
And it's basically a browser add-on. So you're on any site, say I'm on Reformation, and I'm like looking at this dress on this tall model, and I'm like, is this even gonna look good on me? Do I need a 0 or a 2? Who knows? You can say I can order a 0 and a 2. They come to my house, I try them on, I decide the 2 works better, and I can return the 0 and only be charged for the 2. So it literally allows you to try a certain amount of items free of charge, and then only pay once you decide what you're gonna keep.
Wow.
I don't know why more people don't know about it.
I didn't know about it.
It's amazing.
I charged so much money to my credit cards, and I
gosh.
seriously have like a spreadsheet.
Oh my God, you're like tracking yourself, and then you have to wait for the money to get back in your account.
And then you still get charged interest on it. Like I just had to call a retailer.
Yeah, and so they only work with certain retailers, but they're really popular ones like, you know, Zara, Reformation, Bloomingdale's, Barney, it's like all the main ones. And they add a retailer every week based on customer request. So if a site doesn't have try.com, you can put in a request that they do, and like if enough people request it, they'll add it.
Okay.
So that's kind of the system they're working on right now. But I highly recommend it for anything you're unsure of, like fit-wise. You can order 3 sizes, and literally you can decide against all of them and never be charged. Or you can decide to keep one and only be charged for that one. So it's a game changer. I don't know why people aren't using this. It's amazing.
I don't know about it, but I'll for sure be using it now, because I order up to 3 sizes sometimes, especially with jeans.
No, you kind of have to. You just never know.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so let's say you find something that you really love, but it doesn't fit quite well, and you are gonna have to take it to the tailor, but you don't know if it's gonna be worth it or not. How can you tell if it's gonna be worth the gamble, especially when you're thrifting?
Yeah, that happens a lot when I'm thrifting and vintage shopping, because sizes just tend to be bigger, I feel like, and a lot of the things I find. I think you kind of have to think about cost per wear, and especially the cost of the item. So if the item itself is only $28, then I can kind of justify paying another $20. Say it's a blazer and it's like $28. I'm like, okay, is this blazer worth $48, you know, after tailoring? And if it is, if you think you're gonna wear it, you can picture yourself wearing it 3 different ways. I always use that trick.
Yeah.
Then it can pretty much justify it. But like I said, I'm a shopaholic, I'm a total yes person, so maybe I'm not the best person to ask this question.
I actually have heard that whole 3 outfit rule recently.
It
which
really
makes
works
so
for
much
me.
sense.
Yeah, like can you picture yourself styling it 3 different ways?
Yeah.
And then from there, if you can picture yourself styling it 3 different ways, you can probably picture yourself wearing it 5 different ways, and so on and so on. So that's a good rule, I think.
Good to know. Every time you travel, it seems like you score big in the whole thrifting vintage shopping department. How do you find and decide whether a store is worth visiting or not?
Yeah, I'm big. I try to go to the best thrift and vintage stores in whatever city I'm in. It's like this fun tradition that I have. Because every city has its own kind of gems and its own things to be discovered. I always ask for recommendations when I know I'm going somewhere. So that's always fun to kind of just go through my DMs and see what stores people are recommending. For example, when I went to Portland, I asked for the best vintage, I think, on Instagram, and everyone said House of Vintage. I'm like, wow, I must have to go to House of Vintage. I went and spent like 3 hours there. And it still wasn't enough. And I brought a lamp home, like on the airplane from that place. So I end up like having to ship myself stuff and carry ridiculous things onto the airplane. But I like to take my followers' recommendations. And also just do like a quick Yelp search or a quick Google search and see what the most talked about shops are in each given place. And even when I find them on Instagram, I have saved collections for different cities. So I have like one for Paris, one for Florida, one for wherever. So then, you know, eventually they'll build up. And when I go there, maybe I'll have like a little library of options.
Yeah. I noticed that you have saved on your stories, New York vintage story saved. Can we expect different cities to pop up there soon?
Hopefully. Yeah, I think so. I mean, it's definitely one of the biggest requests I get content-wise is like where to shop for vintage. Yeah. So hopefully more cities to come soon. That New York one was like hard I like slaved over putting that together because I wanted to make sure it was like good and cohesive and that I wasn't forgetting any and that it could be like a resource for people. So I hope to get that, you know, get to be that much more of an expert in other cities too.
Cool. So what's the best one so far?
The best one so far, vintage-wise? Oh, that's so hard. Let me think. I mean, I think it's soon to be discovered because I hear the vintage in Tokyo is amazing.
Really?
Yeah, I hear some of it's expensive, some of it's affordable. I don't know, I've heard mixed reviews, but I think that'll be fun. I've been like saving my money to try and vintage hunt while I'm there. But
and ship.
Yeah, maybe ship or get another suitcase or something, I don't know. But so far, that's really, really hard to decide. But I think in recent memory, it was that House of Vintage in Portland. It was just sprawling. And I think I was on Instagram like, look at this, guys, look at this. And also there's weirdly a small kind of unexpected one in Tannersville, New York, up by Scribner's Lodge, which is like a popular hotel or kind of like lodgy hotel that people stay at upstate. I remember recently I tried on this dress there and it was like this tulle, like poofy, like
it
princess
went off
prom
on
dress.
Instagram.
Yeah.
Of course I remember it.
And I was like, oh, I love this dress, but like I don't need it. So like I left it. And everyone was like, no, turn around. This happens on my Instagram all the time. My followers are like, what are you thinking? Go back for that immediately. We were already on the road back to New York City and I call the vintage store. Meanwhile, it's this woman who's like 75 running the place. We were like, is she even gonna answer the phone? Does she even know how to like ship things? So I'm like, hi. I was the girl who just tried on that like tulle gown. I was wondering if you could mail it to New York City for me. She was like, let me get a pen. And it was like a 30-minute like phone call, but it was worth it. We were like, is it even ever gonna show up? We'll see. It arrived safely and I don't know when or where I'm gonna wear it, but at least it's mine, right? So such a funny story.
Man, your followers are huge enablers.
They really are. It's bad, but so am I. So I guess we're all like in it together.
Okay, so your jam is pretty much shopping, unsurprisingly. So most of the submitted questions were about where to find particular pieces.
Okay.
So I'm gonna name them.
Ooh, I feel like this is like a pop quiz.
And you can tell us your top picks for budget, moderate, and contemporary.
Okay.
Let's
do it.
fitting dresses, and obviously it goes without saying for
Yeah.
petites.
Right.
Fitting dresses.
Is that, you mean like fitted? Like
Fitted,
okay. Topshop Petite has amazing, I guess that would be budget.
Mm-hmm.
Has amazing fitted dresses for petites in their like petite line. For more of a contemporary side, I would say Petite Studio, the brand based here in New York that launched about a year ago. They are more in like the 100 something range, so like below 100 would be Topshop. Petite Studio has a great like 125 kind of range for dresses that fit really, really well because the lengths are all adjusted. And then for a bit of a higher price point, I would say like Reformation or Fame and Partners, that site that I mentioned before, because you can really put in your height and customize the lengths on everything. And Reformation also has a petite line, so those are great.
Cool.
Yeah.
Affordable workout leggings.
Affordable workout leggings. Oddly enough, I accidentally ended up with a pair of Fabletics leggings. I think that's like Kate Hudson's line, right?
Yeah.
It may be some kind of subscription model, I'm not sure, but I ended up with a pair of them and they were randomly my favorite and I didn't even expect to like them. And now they're the ones that I like seek out in the laundry pile to wear. And I think they're really affordable.
That's really surprising to hear.
I know.
I've actually like purposely stayed away from them for some reason.
I know. I would never see myself shopping on there either, but great leggings. The lengths are great. The fit is great. They're really flattering. As far as like contemporary and above, I would say Outdoor Voices is obviously a go-to, and I find the links to be fine for petites as well. And their extra small is really quite small, I find.
Yeah.
And then Matches Fashion, if you're really ready to splurge, you can get like Fendi leggings or like cool indie brands that are like more expensive and high end on Matches.
Cool. High waist pants.
High waist pants, I love, and Other Stories. Topshop Petite again, I'll have to say. Jessie Cam, for more of like a contemporary price point, Jessie Cam has like the best high waist pants.
They're
like
pants.
the sailor pant. It's like the pant to end all pants, honestly, if you're into that style, of course. And then from a luxury price point, what do you think? I'll have to get back to you on that one. But I feel like you can get a good enough high waist pant without shelling out a ton of dough.
I agree. Budget-friendly stores that are typically found in malls.
In the mall, let's see. I mean, I love to hit up a Nordstrom Rack, even though those are more in like shopping centers, not really like in malls. And like TJ Maxx, like I'm down for the hunt, you know, to find like weird good deals in those kind of off-price stores. Again, like I'm trying to steer away from, I think we're all trying to steer away from like fast fashion.
Yeah.
And a lot of the mall stores are fast fashion, so I don't think you'll find me in the mall anytime soon. I used to actually like find gems in Forever 21.
Right.
I kind of like used to pride myself on being able to find the good stuff in that store, but now I just feel kind of icky about it, to be honest. I
was looking at a line, I forget which one it was, but I could just tell that the manufacturing was really poorly done.
Yeah.
And I don't know, like if I've gotten older and so therefore I've been exposed to more well-made things so I can spot the really shitty stuff now, or if it's just gotten shittier now.
Yeah.
Because I used to love Forever 21 and I feel like, yeah, it was cheap, but
I think it's a combination, like probably us growing out of it and just having that much more knowledge about the industry, but also brands just always wanting to produce as cheaply as possible. Yeah. And it shows. It really does.
Yeah, because I remember I used to keep things around from Forever 21 for like a year or two that could get me through high school. But now you can't even expect like more than a season.
It feels like it falls apart.
Yeah. Have you checked out on Abercrombie & Fitch lately?
I haven't. Actually, I was home and in the mall like for the holidays or something. Yeah. And I walked by and smelled the smell and was like, wow, this brings me back. But no, I didn't go in. But I feel like it's gotten better. I think they got a new creative director a few years ago. Yeah. And you can probably find a few cute pieces.
I feel like when I'm at the mall, I found my bikini last year there randomly. So I feel like it's gotten better. They're trying to move away from like what they used to be known for. Yeah, and I think they really need to let go of that scent.
Probably.
It needs to die.
Yeah. I don't know. Do you think they'll let go of it?
I don't know.
I don't know if they can.
They've been sued for it.
They have?
Yeah,
Why?
employees that work there.
They're getting like headaches or something?
They claim that the phthalates from the scent were harming their health. I don't know how that lawsuit ended.
That's intense.
But yeah, I remember reading about it or something.
Oh my gosh.
So of course I'll be checking out your New York vintage shopping guide.
Hey.
But what other shopping spots would you recommend?
There's a little cluster of shops. It kind of starts on like Broadway and Howard Street in New York. So you can hit Opening Ceremony, which is extremely dangerous, but it's like a few floors and it's dreamy. I just find their brand mix to be like so on point. You can find everything from like Jacquemus to like small New York indie jewelry brands to Opening Ceremony's own line, which is also great. That has to be my favorite like go-to New York store. And then nearby, there's also a Reformation right there. And then across the street, there is an Oakenfort, which is an affordable Canadian brand that's kind of on the minimal side. That's starting to grow their presence in the US. There's Veda right there. There's 3x1, a great denim brand. It's kind of all a little cluster. I think Celine is not far away, which is also very dangerous. You can walk up the street to Topshop if that's your jam. So that's kind of where I go when I'm like ready to do some damage and just like bop in and out to a few places. That's kind of the area. Oh, and a great, more indie shop called American Two Shot. I don't know if you've been there.
No.
They carry everything from Lwany to Susan Alexandra to Alice McCall, smaller brands like Hannah Christina Metz, Samantha Pleat, like very like indie New York brands, but also some bigger ones mixed in. It's just a really fun mix.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so and they're all kind of within like a few blocks of each other, so like don't go there unless you're like ready to do it, you know?
Do you have a shopping strategy? Like,
I like to shop by myself.
same, actually. Or my mom.
Yeah, my
It's
mom's fine.
Yeah.
She can pass.
But when girls are like, do I go shopping? I'm always like,
I can't
can
like
we just
get
get
it.
coffee
Yeah,
instead?
yeah.
Like,
I can't like get it done with friends.
Yeah.
I don't know. So I definitely like to shop alone. I also have tried to do it with online shopping. There's this kind of cart test where if you find something you like, you add it to your cart, and unfortunately, some sites refresh your cart for like an hour or whatever. But theoretically, like sleep on it, keep it in your cart for a day. And if the next day you still really want it, then buy it, you know? And so I think I impulse buy a lot online. So I've been trying to do that cart thing, even for 3 days. Like, just let it be there for 3 days. Don't get so frantic about it.
Yeah.
And then like a few days later, sometimes I'm like, oh, X out. Like, I don't want that anymore. What was I thinking?
Yeah.
So that's just kind of sit on something for a few days is a good strategy too.
I always find that whatever I buy online, I'm most likely it's going to get returned.
Yeah, it's a lot, but hopefully try.com will help you out with that situation a little bit.
For sure. Well, thanks for doing this.
Thanks for having me. It's so great to be here. Ta-da! Do we need to do anything else?
No, that's it.
Cool.
We're all done.
Yeah?
Or just give me one more clap.
Yay.
All right.
We blew through that.
That was great.